Hot 97. Okay, so Kevin Livingston, I met you a little while ago. We were in Patterson, Jersey, right?
Yes, we are.
100 suits for 100 men. Talk to me about this, because when I first heard about it, I was like, oh my God, I love this concept. I love what you're doing for the people.
Thank you, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. What we are a professional development organization, and what we believe in is teaching our population how to not only put a suit on, but we want to give you the follow-up services. So I'm really big on in advocating for that, for our young people, for people who are coming home from prison, homeless, DV population. This is what we deal with on a daily day basis. So we provide free suits, haircuts.
Wow.
That's just the premises of what we do, is the free suits, haircuts. Also, we also do tie-tying classes, and we have wig referrals. So women going out on interviews that don't want to get their hair done particularly, we have wig referrals that we go and they can put a wig on and go right to the interview.
What made you want to do this?
I care. I really, really care about my community, especially South Jamaica, Queens, where I'm from. I got tired of the community walking across the street when they see a group of young men coming down the block, right? And as opposed to pulling one of the brothers on the side, they want to demonize them, right? So I remember when I first started, I took a box and put it in the bank that I was working with and put suits in there, and we've grown ever since.
How does the word get out there that, hey, especially those who are getting out of prison, jail, or whatever, and they need to get back on their feet? Like, how do they find this out?
Absolutely. So the beautiful thing is that we're in Rikers, right?
Yeah.
So we actually are in the facilities before they come home. We are in the GMDC building, as well as we are in the Rosie. So what happens is we run our professional development workshops before they come home. When I first started, I was just giving out suits. But I felt like I was doing a disjustice for that. Because if I'm giving you a suit and I'm not teaching you how to, tie a tie, or if I'm not teaching you how to go to an interview and find out what your skill set, find out what your real passion is, I'm not doing you any justice, right? So I've teamed up with It's a Process organization, which Andre's over here, and we've been able to really address that particular population.
Wow. Now, when you're teaching the people who do need it, how are they receiving it? Are they like, wow, okay? And they probably didn't know about most of this information.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so critical, right?
Yeah.
So let's just talk about, really for a quick second, the population that's just coming home from prison. That's
Right.
why It's a Process organization that partnered with me is so critical. Some of these brothers don't even know how to go online, right? So when they go on parole, they're told to, do simple things online, and if they don't abide by it, they're going to violate their parole and they're going right back up, right? So we have to really touch on the intricate details to make sure that they are ready to go on to the next level, right? So that's something I'm really, really passionate about. And again, when I first started, I was just giving out suits. But I've seen times where people take the suit and go right down to Jamaica Avenue and sell it. I mean, literally, take the suit that I gave them and sell it on the avenue, right? So I've learned from that. And I embrace it, right? We learn from our changes. So long story short is we really go in front of the problem, and we really believe in working with everybody to get the problem eradicated.
For the suits, do they get to keep it, or is it a rental?
Absolutely. Listen,
They keep it?
Absolutely. The suits are absolutely. And the beautiful thing
Wow.
is that I'm not funded. I was never funded by no city council, no state senate, nothing. They ain't got no money anyway. But no city
Right.
council, nothing, right? We actually just care, right? So the community where I'm from, South Jamaica, Queens, stood up. So when I make a call out that I need suits and I need mentors, they really, really stood up. I'll give you a quick example. When the young man in South Jamaica brought a gun to school at PS40, I made a call for 40 brothers to show up with me to that school the next day to stand there and just let the young people know that we care about our community.
Yeah.
5 brothers showed up. Out of that 5, we went on to take that same school to Columbia University for an educational tour and tour of the college. And we just started our 100 Suits Academy in that school last week, where we have a 6-month curriculum working with those same young people.
Oh my gosh.
We have to take our community by control.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to understand this concept of, hey, look, sometimes we got to give people resources. We have to help them. It's not a matter of, hey, if you just want to do something, you wake up one day and it's just voila, it's done. Like, I think that concept, especially during times like this, it's hard for people to understand this. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, just being the kind of person I am, I got so frustrated with people talking about nonsense when you have things in the community that's affecting you every day. Yes, we have NYPD problems, but let's talk about the problems we are putting on in our own community.
Right.
I had this argument the other day where a guy says, well, what's going on in our house goes on in our house. But if somebody comes in our house and does something, then that's a problem. No, what's going on in our house is just as big as when somebody comes out, right? And that's why I salute Colin Fitzpatrick, excuse me if I kill his name.
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick. I'm sorry. But he's amazing. He's amazing. I think his stance and what he's doing is something that speaks volumes because he's actually putting his money in his mouth where his action is. Yeah. And I salute that. And that's what we need in our community. You do not have to be a celebrity. You could be somebody literally that just works in a retail store. Right. You could teach somebody else behind you customer service. It's an invaluable skill set in our community. Get hired from that and build on from there.
Investing in our community is the first fundamental. Yes. And I think every time, it's interesting that you brought that up. Every time we raise awareness or we do something, it's always, oh, well, this isn't the right time. Well, when is the right time?
Absolutely.
From my understanding, your organization is asking for donations for suits. Is that how that works?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever been at that point where people aren't helping as much?
Absolutely.
Or are people usually trying to look out? Like, how does this work for you?
Well, in the beginning, you get everybody want to help you, right?
Right.
And that's what happened with me. I got a lot of all sorts of suits. But it tapers off. It's not the hot topic at the moment.
Right.
Right? When we have things like, Eric Gardner and stuff like that, when that becomes precedent, then everybody shifts their movement to that. Or they shift their movement to the latest things that's trending.
Right.
I shift my movement to what's going on in South Jamaica, Queens, Bronx, Harlem, and where we're at. And so with me saying that, it has tailored off. But it has picked up, and it's constantly picked up. Why? Because I show them that, listen, regardless of what, without no funding or whatever have you, these lives still matter. You have to get out there and teach these young people, and not only the young people, the population that's coming home from prison. You have brothers that are coming home doing 20 years who have acquired a skill set in prison, but instead of teaching them how to become an entrepreneur with the skill set they acquired in there, they want you to go and get a $10 an hour job, which makes you frustrated, and let alone the barrier of getting a job, and then putting them right back in the same situation. We're not addressing this, and it does not take rockets. It takes people that care about their community to really get out there and get in front of this, and it can happen. I'm doing it. This brother's doing it.
I love this. Now, you're not only giving suits, and you're not just teaching people how to, hey, this is how you handle yourself in a job interview. You're actually teaching them financial literature.
Yes, ma'am.
Something that I feel has hurt us, all of us, unless you're part of that certain majority that's well versed on it. But I think that's so important.
Thank you so much. We in our 100 Suits Academy, which spans into the DOE, with Department of Education, we have a 6-month curriculum. This started again from a school where a young man brought a gun to school, a 5th grader. We have we touch on financial literacy. We partner with Carver Federal Savings Bank, where we have that built out. We have banking days. We all go to the bank. We teach them how to bank.
That's amazing.
Thank you. We have an entrepreneurial aspect to that, where we partner with local businesses to teach young people how to start their business. We find out, like, somebody will ask me, I'll ask them who their favorite basketball player is, and they'll say LeBron James. I'll tell them Dan Gilbert. And make them think, and then we go back and forth. Dan Gilbert's the owner, right? So we have that conversation. Then we have another piece which is called The Other Side of the Gun, right? Where we talk with families who have been victims of senseless gun violence, community-wise.
Right.
And then we partner with Crow's Funeral Home, where we go to the funeral home and have meet one-on-one with the funeral director to talk about the impact of senseless gun violence to the families.
Yeah.
And going a step further, we talk about the expenses it creates.
Yes.
So we talk about how it creates an immediate $7,000 expense on a family who only makes minimum wage. So we really, really break down. We have others on it. It's too long to go into, but we have other aspects to it. But it's a really, really out-the-box curriculum.
How does someone find more information about?
Sure, absolutely. You can go to 100suits.org. You can also email us at 100suitsnyc@gmail.com, or just Google 100 Suits. We're on Facebook.
So let's say just someone who might not have access to suits and they can't donate like that. Is there a way for people to help and invest into what you're doing because you're truly investing in the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can. I don't know if it's okay. I can give my number.
Yeah.
My number is 347
Yeah.
472 2519. That's a direct number to the organization, which comes directly to me. You can also hit us an email at 100suitsnyc@gmail.com, and we'll set up a PayPal on the website as well, 100suits.org.
Is there a reason why you're not being funded?
Absolutely.
Is it because once you're funded, you're kind of controlled by certain restrictions?
Absolutely.
Really?
When I came, I started calling people out. Right, and I started doing things that they should be doing. Right, I would go to a community board meeting and get annoyed when they're talking about a speed bump in the middle of the street when there was somebody that was killed 2 blocks away. We're not talking about that. Speed bump packed the meeting, but we're not talking about the young brother that was shot and killed. But when something with the NYPD happens, then you got hundreds. I had an issue with that.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me a 17-year-old life didn't matter?
Yeah.
The Sean Plummer life didn't matter? Sean Plummer life didn't matter, which happened to senseless gun violence? These are 2 brothers that were killed. George Tillman, and stuff like that. So I bring that up, that it drives me absolutely insane that that people bring attention to these things and don't bring attention to others. To answer your question, I personally was out there. I was telling them, listen, we need help. We need these resources. And they would follow suit. They had no choice, because when people started following me, that's their votes. So they'll start following me. And then so that's what happened. In the backdrop, it took me 5 years to start my organization.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to. I didn't want to start it. I didn't want to do it. I told people, you can start changing your community. Just start. Just start. It does not take finances. Just start. Be the start and watch people follow. And we was able to do that. We just started last year, 501c3. I've been doing this since 2007.
This is what we strive for. When I hear this, I really hope others are inspired to do this. And investing in our communities is I truly believe the first step, but understanding why we are where we are is important. Because a lot of times I think when you have issues, you have police brutality going on, you have senseless gun violence going on, right? And all these issues. I think the problem is everyone's like, well, this matters, No, it all matters.
Yes.
But we have to understand history, understanding why this is even occurring, why the system is the way it is.
Yes.
And I think we're lacking there, so that people understand why when you're upset that senseless gun violence is happening while someone else is focusing on police brutality.
Yes.
They both go hand in hand.
Absolutely. And that's that's my thing. And that's why I took on 2 cases that happened in our community. In Jamaica, I led a march of over 500 people with 2,000 signatures. We walked 6 miles to the DA's office to hand in signatures to let them know that our lives matter. And this was for Sean Plummer and Sean Plummer, 2 brothers that were killed 3 years apart on the same block. And then this past April, George Tillman, who was shot 15 times by the NYPD, whose case is still not taken in by the Queens DA. And we want to let the DA know that if he doesn't take this on, we will put pressure to take you out of office when you go up for re-election. We have to let these people know that we are not playing. Our lives matter. Every life matters. George Tillman was a married father of 5. Sean and Sean Plummer was going to the store 3 years apart and shot in the same and killed in the same block. We have to put attention to these things.
What's the delay with the DA?
Well, the Queens DA, that I have my own onslaught about where he's standing at. I think they do good work. I'm not here to bash the NYPD.
Right.
NYPD do amazing work. It was a camera salute to the NYPD. But I have to tell you that the Queens DA is moving a little bit too slow. This brother was unarmed. He was an unarmed black man. He's an unarmed man, regardless of his color, right? And he was coming from Maryland, and he may have had an open liquor bottle, a liquor bottle, but I've seen the video, right? And due to the case, I really can't talk about specifics of the video, but it don't make sense why this man had 15 shots, 13 to the back, once to the side of the temple up close. The cop was so running up on him so fast that he jumped over him with a gunshot. That's how. So. These are things that are not talked about. Sean and Sean Plummer, again, it goes back to what happens in our house happens in our house. But when they come in, no, that don't rock, right? Sean Plummer's 18 years old going to the store. He took a friend to the store and got caught in crossfire. His killer is still at large. Sean Plummer just went back to check friends and then came back and they shot him in the back of his head. Both brothers got headshots. The beautiful thing about Nashawn is that when he passed, he was able to save 45 lives. His mother donated his organs. 45 lives were affected by this young man. And none of the killers were taken in. I'm putting my life on the line.
Yes.
I live in Queens, and it is a gang problem out there, and this is gang related.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit here and say and be in fear every day to let you know that it's okay for you to kill somebody else over senseless gun violence. No.
Yeah.
And I've lost 2 marriages to this whole thing,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm really committed to the cause.
Yeah.
And I want my people to know that I care.
Now, when we're talking about gang members, you also help former gang members and those who want to get out.
Absolutely.
You're truly giving people a chance to, live a different life where they're in control of their life.
Absolutely. I can speak to it right now. Gentleman who's with me today.
Yeah.
He's a former he's a former Crip member, right? And he was incarcerated. He just finished parole, came off parole, had a great mind, a great curriculum that he wanted to start. Now I brought him under me. He runs his curriculum through my organization now.
Beautiful.
Right? So he's a partner with me. He doesn't work, he's a partner. I gave him that opportunity. We was on the train here. I told him, it does me good to help you because you're going to turn around and help somebody else.
Yes. Each one teach one.
Ask his brother 4 years ago where he's at. So like we have to create opportunity.
Yeah.
I work with all kind, Bloods, Crips, all different sets, Latin King. I work with them all.
Yeah. I have a question. Let's say someone who is in a gang right now and wants to get out, right? Could they call you and say, hey, I don't really know how to even start, where to go? Is this something that you can help with, or do you refer them at this point? How does this work?
Absolutely. So 2 things, and that's why it's a process, a part of the 100 Suits family, right? We will consult with a former gang member who actually is versed in dealing with that. The thing about me is that I actually work with a lot of, I consider OGs.
Right.
So I would literally find out what set they are and then probably have a conversation with the OG to see how we can have a safe way out.
Yeah.
Right. So those are 2 processes. And then after that, again, consulting with, it's a process, finding out if there's any other relative, maybe young person may need emergency shelter, like, to get out the area.
Yes.
So we partner with other organizations to find him emergency shelter because if you look at the homeless system and the shelters they have in New York City, it is a second prison. The one they have on Bedford Atlantic, it is a second prison. So we have to find emergency sheltering for them and then consult with literally their OGs to see if we can, do a safe surrender.
I'm so thankful that there are still amazing souls out there that care and they're willing to sacrifice everything that they have to make sure our communities are safe. Again, where can people find more information about everything that you're doing?
Sure, absolutely. 100suits.org, which is the website. You can go to 100 Suits for 100 Men on Facebook,
Right.
100 Suits on Instagram, and again, personally, my cell phone, 347-472-2519.
Please don't ever stop. And I know it gets hard, but we need this.
Yes, I care about my community. I care about young men, young women.
Yeah.
I care about South Jamaica, Harlem, Bronx, where we're located. I care about my community.
Yeah.
And I don't care who tries to stop me. You can't stop the process.
You can't stop this. Nah, this is from the heart. This is
Not
from
at
the
all.
soul.